Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESL Pro League. It's match day 10, and we are knee-deep in a long week of CS matches. I'm here with Yanko and with Henry G. Last night, a long one there, guys. We had 3 overtimes. We got through, and tonight's build is even looking more interesting than that.
Yeah, we survived somehow. Had, an upset, so to speak, right? Hellraisers beating Fnatic. I don't think anyone expected that, but, you know, they really showed up and took the game to Fnatic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually 2 overtimes to kick things off, and I didn't think they would stand a chance considering losing their best player recently in the form of Oscar. Fnatic, up and coming. You think of the Dennis are not off there as well. They probably have a clean sweep of that one, but 1-1, pretty interesting result in the end.
Yeah, definitely would have expected. But while we're talking about that, we can actually give you a bit of a recap of last night's matches as well. For those of you that's a little bit further from your memory, we can bring it up on screen for you now and give you an idea. And this was that match we were talking about, gentlemen. Hellraisers actually putting up more of a fight than we expected. Sticko was definitely a big factor on Cash there as well. A lot of those very close situations, and then moved on to FaZe Astralis. These 2 teams really like to grind each other down over time.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of brutal, very close 1v1 rounds.
It was one of the most exciting games of CS I've seen in quite a while, just in terms of an online game. Didn't really expect that kind of hype when we have those kind of matchups, but for me, what the most interesting thing was Astralis. They're in a bit of a slump right now, had some poor results. They're at a boot camp, and you can see they're trying to change the recipe once again. These guys are famous for changing the roles pretty much every tournament. They can't find the right formula to make this work. This time, it seems like they've gone back to their roots. So they're changing the AWP role every single map from what we saw last night. So Dust2, purely device. It was just CT&T, him rolling with it. Then we're going on to Mirage, and then Karrigan's back. That was like his home territory right before. And it seems like that's what they're going back to, trying to work out who's best and what and who's most comfortable. It allows Device to have that potential with the AK, which he wants to do as well. So he wants to have more of a hybrid setup. But Astralis still looking pretty inconsistent. Some of their star players, especially the new signing, Kiabi, he was having a pretty poor night. Apart from the second map towards the later stages, he's actually stepping up a bit more. But it seemed like they're still struggling to a degree. It wasn't a clean-cut result by any stretch of the imagination for them.
And the Danish scene, guys, actually a bit of a shake-up right now. We're seeing some interesting results from the otherwise expected top teams. They're your Dignitas and your Astralis, and then we're seeing teams like Heroic sort of coming up the ranks and actually causing some damage here as well. And the Danish teams generally fairly vocal on Twitter and stuff like that, talking about their own performances. Very much seems to be the party message is that we're just making some dumb decisions. We're struggling, focus, all these things. Astralis are back in boot camp here as well, but I mean, we're seeing Dignitas tonight, and for those guys as well, they also fell to Heroic at Powerland here. So again, the Danish scene in turmoil, perhaps?
I mean, it's the scene known to, you know, bring out the most talent, right? We saw a lot of young and upcoming players from Denmark in the previous year or 2. So it's not a surprise that there are upsets there. You know, maybe you wouldn't expect exactly Heroic to beat both Dignitas and Astralis at a local LAN. But, you know, Dignitas as well playing with a stand-in. Rubino is taking some time off. They played the Power LAN with AZ. Now they're coming into this match against VP with SMF as the stand-in.
Yeah, so I mean, plenty to talk about on that note. We'll get there in a sec as well. What we will do, though, for you guys is have a look at the standings so far as well. We're obviously halfway into week number 3 here. And again, we will have had a fair few matches played. Everyone has at least played a match. For those of the likes of Flipside, it hasn't been great so far, but we see FaZe up the top here. Now, their online season, last season was very up and down. I wouldn't have exactly put them clear-cut front runners here. And then we see teams like Astralis at the mid-table.
Yeah, FaZe has been amazing, considering they've got a new signing coming in as well. Like, it's that definite honeymoon period coming into it. I guess it's difficult to gauge them so much. It's hard to download what they're going to be doing with Alu coming in, the superstar AWPer. So that does have some sort of effect going forward. You're never really sure what to expect in these, especially after the break as well. That's why I said when we're seeing these results, it's very difficult to see where they are as a team compared to when they're playing teams that are very rusty. You know, it's very hard to work out where they actually stand. But to be fair, it looks a lot better than the old FaZe, and it seems like they are getting to the top of the table. And they've played, what, 12 games so far? That's actually a pretty impressive result for them. Alu seems to be fitting in very nicely indeed.
A couple of storylines emerging here as well. Obviously, we already talked about it last night. Virtus Pro looking a lot better this season, already equaling their match win total of previously there as well. But then we've got teams like G2 who have played a lot of games already. I think 12 games. They're 5 at 7, and this is a G2, I guess, guys, in flux in terms of their wins and losses right now.
Yeah, they had a terrible start. I mean, even though they had a couple of close games, really in the beginning it was their horrible CT sides that cost them a lot of those games. I mean, winning 11 rounds against Navi on T side and not being to close it out in the second half, it's really something that they will regret for sure. But, you know, looking at the table, I think in the past seasons when there were fewer teams, it was mostly around 6 losses was where, you know, the line was drawn. Everyone who had more than that wouldn't be able to qualify. So here I would say that anyone who has probably more than 8 losses is not going to be able to qualify. So there's still some leeway for teams in terms of losses, right? But as you mentioned, G2 already with 7, they really can't slip up almost for the rest of the league if they want to have a chance to make those LAN playoffs.
And we've got teams like Heroic as well, who are 3 and 7. So despite them living up to their name, of course, at the local LAN on the weekend and beating some of those top names, the online stuff hasn't been great.
The thing is that they seem to be performing pretty poorly in Pro League, but then they go into another online league and other qualifiers and stuff, and they're beating the same teams on the same night and much better results on the same maps. It is really difficult to gauge where they are right now. It's like this is just online CSU as a nutshell, I guess. Like you can have one game and one result, then you move over to a different server, and I'm not really sure what the difference is there an hour later. But for some reason, they seem to find a lot more form. It seems Pro League's been a little bit of a problem for them to actually get going. As a team, I think they've actually been pretty impressive overall, considering the package and how long they've been together. The results like that, Powerland, for example, and the other leagues they have been pretty good. So definitely a team to watch out for. But hopefully he can get rolling in this league. Wasn't
it Heroic or Team X at the time that played FaZe in that first play day, and I think lost both of those games and then moved on and crashed them later on in the Starlighter qualifiers?
Yeah, that's what Henry was referencing. They lost Mirage, and then they beat them on Mirage in Starlighter 16-4 and beat them 16-0 on Cobble as well.
It didn't make any sense. Like it was insane.
No sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a little bit of a look at what is coming up for you guys tonight. We've got 4 maps here, and if you've been scouring HLTV, you wouldn't have seen them because we made a couple last-minute changes. We would otherwise have had 3 Dust2 games in a row, but instead we're going this route. It's going to be Dignitas taking on Virtus Pro to kick things off there on Dust2 and Mirage, and then we're going to be moving on to a cracker of a match. A team, well, 2 teams, I guess, with a bit of history and definitely a bit of rivalry. Mousesports being the team that handed G2 their biggest loss ever on Dust2. That'll be the second map of the night, but prior to that, we will be seeing Cash. I think you guys will probably have to echo the sentiments of saying we've got 2 very decent matches here. Yeah,
I'd say so, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how Virtus Pro, like we said, still up and down. Not the VP we know, obviously sorted themselves out of the slump in terms of the LAN results. They had some amazing results in terms of winning E-League and stuff like that. And then Starlighter as well earlier in the year. But then still, they come into Pro League, had a couple of ropey results. We're starting to find some form now. Dignitas, as Janko mentioned, they're playing with SMF. They've actually played some online results as well. I think they actually played Mousesports earlier in the week, and they actually beat them on Dust2 in overtime. I think it was double overtime, in fact.
It was double or even triple, something
and
like that.
That's a pretty big feat for them. With a stand-in, beating a team like Mousesports, who are very good on Dust2, that's actually pretty impressive for them. So I think this is going to be a hell of a game. What's interesting is VP, famously, are pretty poor on Dust2 as a package. They're not actually very good at it.
They don't like to play it, really.
But I guess now the Inferno has been removed, and they've kind of tested Nuke as well. They're not amazing on Nuke either. I think something has to start working out. They need to start increasing the map pool, and these online games are obviously a good way to start working out things and formulating new strategies and stuff like that. So I guess this is a chance. A team like Dignitas, who they should be beating, in my opinion, maybe this is why they want to try out maps like Dust2.
I'm still surprised, though. They had 2 vetoes.
Yeah,
if you say that one is Nuke, then if it's not Dust2, what is it? I would suspect Cash, probably out of the maps that are left. So I still don't know why they would rather play Dust2 than Cash against Dignitas, but maybe they know something I don't.
It was a disappointing Cash performance, actually, via Virtus Pro against Penta. I think on the T side for Virtus Pro, they had in 6 after-plant situations where they planted the bomb, they lost 5 of them. They lost 5 out of 6 of these after-plants.
Yeah, but that doesn't say that they are, bad at playing the map. That just tells you that they made some mistakes in those situations, probably more likely than not if they lost 5 out of 6 to make it so, right? It mostly comes down to individual decision-making and good communication in those situations. You did the hard part, you got into the bombs and you planted the bomb, so now it's up to you to play off of each other.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. That's like 75% of the battle is having the approach in the map, the default, and working out to get to a bomb site. The fact it's an equal situation when it's like 2-on-2s or 3-on-2s, even man advantages, it's not necessarily the map at all. It's just them not really synergizing together and actually making some huge mistakes. To be fair to Penta, though, they were very good on the retakes on that map. They got crushed on the one before. They had a horrible result, and then they bounced back and somehow picked that map up. And that was actually a really nice play for them as a whole. Like a team hitting way above their weight in terms of what they should be performing at. Like that's a team we expect to be tier 2, maybe some would say tier 3.
Yeah.
And the fact they're coming in and beating teams like Virtus Pro, which they've already done before, obviously wasn't a flash in the pan. They actually do have some sort of potential there to be a good team going forward.
Yeah, and this off the back, of course, of Stefan coming into the lineup as well as that stand-in for who knows how long. But let's have a look at the head-to-head here as well. Let's focus a little bit more on this first game of the night. We already gave a bit of an example to it, of course. Dignitas in Virtus Pro. It's not going to be Rubino tonight, as you already pointed out. Yanko will be SMF. I've got quotes from Dignitas here after their last games. Things like, we got to wake up and start to use our brains. Config saying we're making stupid decisions, costing us the game. And Magic is saying we're not winning pistol rounds, we're making silly mistakes. It seems to be like a real theme for these guys right now as well. I mean, what is your advice to a team like that? I mean, how are you addressing that? Is it silly mistakes? It always seems to be the same thing.
I don't know, a lot of teams, famously in CSGO, always put it down to like lack of experience or stuff like that. The thing is, these guys have all been playing CS for a very long time.
Sure.
If you're making fundamental mistakes in terms of the clutch situations or the way you're approaching the defaults and stuff like that, that's just stuff you need to work on and just kind of talk about as a team after each game. You need to sit back, watch the demos and work out exactly what went wrong. You just need to address it. It should get better. If you know the problems are there, they're quite easy to rectify in that manner. But in terms of like having a standing player coming in and trying to find that fifth, the thing is, when people hear like one player's coming into the team, right, they think, oh, it's just one player. That's quite an easy tier. That's actually, for pro level CS, the highest tier, that's actually a very difficult ordeal to actually get him in. You've got 7 maps. On each map, on the T side, you could have 10 different approaches to the map. And in the CT defenses, you've got aggressive stances, different defaults and stuff like that. It actually takes a lot of time and a lot of trial and error. It's not like you can go on a server and say, okay, these are all your roles. Just remember all this and you'll do it. You have to actually have the dry runs. You actually have to have the PCWs to actually work out the timings and the intricate kind of nuances of those setups. So it's actually a really big deal bringing one player in. So those mistakes with one new player are bound to happen. But in terms of advice, it's just play more and actually work on them and address the issues. There's not really much more you can do to it than that, to be honest.
Yeah, like because you always wonder, is it a groupthink problem? Is it a problem with the entire team, or is it on an individual level more so? I mean, to be fair, you get excuses from players, you get reasoning from them. Often that comes down to it is silly mistakes. We've got to wake up, you know, this kind of stuff, which we're trying to cut through, I guess, and isolate maybe some of the issues that Dignitas have been having right now.
Cut through the BS, you want to say, Mitch?
Well, essentially,
I think more than anything else, it's a lack of focus for some players. And when they say silly mistakes, it's mostly individual. It's not like, you know, they're making a bad decision about which pistol round they're going to go for. Right, those things can always be a bit random as well. I feel like that, you know, those mistakes, they're referencing to players being overly aggressive and they have the advantage, then they throw that advantage away, put their team at a disadvantage, you know, peeking when you shouldn't. Those types of mistakes where players actually are unaware of the situation in the round. They don't understand that they already have an advantage, that maybe they should just play passively, play it safe, buy time for their teammates, right? They overextend, they die, they let their opponent get control of the bomb site, and that's when things go south. And, you know, Counter-Strike is a game where a few crucial rounds decides who will win or lose. So it's only enough you lose 2 rounds like that, let's say, in a game, and you lose the whole map because of it. So I think that's what they're referencing more than anything else. And 2 rounds even worse if they're pistols, which is another reason that they said they've been struggling. Also, you said focus. That's the first word you brought up there. I want to bring Rubino into the light a little bit here. I assume you guys have seen his tweet longer. I assume you've sort of tried to decipher what the messaging was from him there as well. He's talked about focus. He's talked about feeling weird, but I don't really know what your take is.
It's a pretty generic statement, isn't it? Because he doesn't specify what's actually the problem here. We can only really speculate, and I don't really want to do that, and we'll try and work out what the problem is there. Like, I don't think anyone actually knows. But I guess if he's not feeling comfortable with the team and he actually doesn't want to be there, then there's no point forcing him into that lineup. Maybe he's not in the right place for it right now. And focus can be a difficult thing to have in CS. If you find yourself in some sort of rut and you're not feeling confident, and like the thing is just like CSGO's players today, it's not like when I played, like you've got so much exposure to your fans and their followers and stuff like that. Maybe you could have you had a bad performance, everyone starts messaging you hate and all that sort of thing. Maybe that could be an influence to you and actually make you feel like you don't want to be playing right now and you want to just have some downtime out of the public eye. That can certainly help. Like, we have that all the time in sports and stuff like that. If you want to take some time away from the actual activity and like kind of find yourself, I guess, and then work out what time you actually feel like you're going to be ready to come back. Whether this is one of those moves or something else is going on, maybe it's a lineup change they actually want to bring in and they're trialing other players out now, that's another discussion. I have no idea. But yeah, it definitely can happen, and maybe just some time away will make it help him revitalize himself and get himself back in the zone. That's all I really can say. I don't know.
Because he's quite an emotional player, Rubino, as well. Like, he will make his presence felt, you know, especially if you're in a LAN environment. He was a player that was often creating a lot of entry scenarios. He was a very aggressive entry fragger. I think always to big platform on Cobblestone. When there was, I think, a few games in a row, we saw Rubino very, very strong on that map, charging on in there and obviously getting those first few kills. So who comes in to replace him there? Or how do you replace the loss of a key entry fragger in a team when you bring this up?
I mean, more than anything else, it seemed that in those set executes, a couple of them, mostly on Cobble, that he was the first guy in. I mean, that's fairly easy to replace in a sense that whoever you bring in, you say, okay, this is when we call this execute, this is your position, you throw these smokes, flashes, etc., and you're the first guy who goes, you run out and you just run until you die, basically, try and
So
create space for the rest of the team. Yeah, I mean, it's more than anything else what Rubino did. His job is to create space, right, to allow the rest of the team to spread out across the back of the B bomb site and, you know, get favorable duels. So, you know, the CTs have to focus on him. If he gets the kills, then it's amazing. Then basically he won the round for his team already.
So it's almost more than you bargained for if Rubino hits a site and gets 2 to 3 kills, I guess, in many cases. All right, guys, what's your take on this one? We're going to jump in just a sec here. Dust2, we know the Virtus Pro don't like to play it. The last 2 matches, though, to be fair, was a tiebreaker win against Gambit and a 16-8 against NIP at E-League here. But you feel like they're just not going to be up to snuff here?
It's like you know.
Online CS.
Yeah, no.
Let's go VP.
Let's try. I'll try and humor you a bit. Let's try and work it out. So Dignitas, from what I said, I didn't get to watch the game against Mouse Sports, but I think that's a really promising result, getting them to double overtime and trying to knock them down. Seems like they know how to play the map. It's a map that does lend itself to bringing a newer player in. It's not such a deep map in terms of the tactical depth you need. So, I don't know, based on that result alone and knowing it's VP online and it is Dust2, I'm going to say Dignitas definitely have the potential to kind of maybe nip in there and take the first map, but we'll see what happens. But yes, I would say Dignitas, maybe like a 16, 13 or something.
I think Henry is absolutely right, and that's why I'm going with VP.
I'm glad you
because that's how CS predictions work.
Yeah. Well, thanks for humouring anyway, gents. I know it's sometimes hard to dig deep and actually get the nuggets of truth out there, but we got them one way or another. Now it's time to kick this game off, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Virtus Pro versus Dignitas, and your casters will be Penzi and Natu.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it is hard to kind of judge these 2 lineups coming into this one. Both known for, I guess, inconsistencies is one way of putting it. Virtus Pro, kind of the premium team of that variety. But we have Dust2 here, which actually could be quite an interesting battle to go down. Dust2 has been actually pretty decent for Virtus Pro recently. Not played it a great deal, but have good results.
Yeah, at the same time, Dignitas, I remember back at the minor before the last major in Cologne, they just said how they've added Dust2 into their pool. They used to always steer away from it. And the results were a little bit up and down. So definitely 2 teams that are not super comfortable in Dust2, but then again, you never know. Virtus Pro online, that's one thing.
Right.
Now Dignitas, obviously, with the a bit of an uncomfortable situation since Rubino's not playing, they have to have the stand-ins playing for them. So
very true.
A very hard one to predict.
We can also kind of bring in the factor as well of what Cajun B has brought to this team. Now he's actually on Dust2, because this was infamously a map he individually was very strong on. Even, you know, playing with Astralis and such, he always had a very, very big performance. And recently Dignitas played Dust2 and he shone a mile ahead. You know, the difference one player can make is quite drastic. And do you think that's the map lending a little to it? Dust2 can allow a little bit more individual performance, do you think? Or just the power of Cajun B coming in, bringing that experience?
Yeah, I think Cajun is just very comfortable on Dust2. There's a lot of positions that he's really found his mojo in. Specifically, I mean, car position, CT side, something we've seen him do for years now. So yeah, I mean, it's I guess a bit of both, but it's a lot about the fact that he's just used to a lot of the positions and can play them very effectively.
And now, obviously, SMF coming into the roster here, taking the place of Rubino for now, indefinite. Who knows how long this is going to be for? Again, quite vague on what's going on there, but. You know, this guy's been around for a while. Another young Danish player who's shown great deals of potential. You know, back in, it was like Western Wolves, Copenhagen Wolves, you know, all these kind of teams. He's played with MSL for quite some time as well. So this player's certainly been around the block. But is this going to be one of those players, again, who kind of comes into the limelight a little bit here, you know, stepping in for a team, and then people go, oh, wow, he's actually quite good. Could this be another pickup coming through, do you think?
It's possible. I mean, he's always been that, you know, that kind of a middleman in a team. You know, he's not going to be the superstar, but then again, he can always put some numbers on the board. Guy has a really mean deagle all the way back in stores. Had a really good deagle, and that works in CSGO as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I don't think he's going to be a rainmaker for this team, but he's definitely going to be someone that can fill those gaps, because Rubino was never a guy that he would consistently bring you the 15 to 20 kills a map, and he was very good at clutching. So that's the one key element, I think, you know, where Rubino always brought in his A game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how this, I don't want to say new roster, but, you know, the kind of new addition fits into this one, how he kind of, you know, what sort of position does he play? How does he kind of assimilate himself in the role? How does MSL utilize him? Because again, you know, MSL is one of those kind of, I guess, more active in-game leaders, I guess you could call it. He's, notorious for those kind of very well laid out strategies. Does that play well against Virtus Pro? Because Virtus Pro seem to, you know, do very well against certain teams and not so well against others. Is this a situation where you could see Virtus Pro doing quite nicely in it?
I think generally speaking for Dignitas is interesting because they publicly were saying how Virga, their coach, was going to take a really active role in game leading and all that stuff. And then Valve just decides to shut that down. But nah, no boys, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've always had this good structure. They've always been good at innovating, Dignitas. One thing that comes to mind is Mirage. They had this strat where they would smoke
and
then come in
CT
before they actually land, kind of stuff. So they've always had this little knack for doing innovative stuff. But, you know, sometimes they are, I feel like they're not good at adapting. That would be an issue. Okay,
so maybe kind of get set in their ways a little, just kind of keep running those, not defaults, but their set pieces, and then don't really switch up a little here or there. So
defaults as well. I mean, just relentlessly going for the same play all the time, and, you know, believing that, you know, if we get this one kill, we're going to make it happen kind of a play, and it doesn't work out.
All right, so just so you know, guys, we are going to go live in a second. We're just waiting on the new IP to come through, so once that's there, we'll be in the server, don't
Fingers
worry.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. You know, Go TV. It's just one of those things. But no, it's going to be a fun game. And for Virtus Pro, you never know what you're going to get. The irony being is you could literally have a completely different, let's say, analysis desk segment, knowing which VP you're going to have. Like, if you knew you were going to get the online VP, you could approach it a certain way. If you knew you were going to get the offline VP, you'd be like, completely different picture. It's very hard to judge this team.
Yeah, it's well, I can understand it to an extent where you know, these guys have been around for so long.
Yeah.
So one thing I would just suggest for them is just find a house you can play at, you know, on the official games. So that you can find that
somewhere.
Because just create an environment where everyone can focus 110%. It feels to me that sometimes they're just lacking that few percentage where, you know, can really make the difference in all those mid-round situations that they usually excel in at LAN tournaments, especially in the major tournaments. They are just super good in all those after-plan situations, retakes, holding bomb sites when they planted a bomb, and their decision-making is so crisp. They play off of each other so well, and then you look at them play online, and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it feels like night and day with them. Obviously, E-League being the prime example.
Yeah.
You looked at them kind of coming into it, you're like, you know, they barely, the relegation situation with the Pro League is the prime example. You know, Penta obviously doing very well out of that, and Virtus Pro kind of left reeling, but then it went maybe a month, maybe 2 months later into E-League, and there's your team closing it down completely. It is very much night and day, but as you said, you know, Virtus Pro are a team who want to keep the same 5 players. They've said it very publicly. They want to keep this lineup, and they, you know, they have other things going on. It's not exactly unheard of that people don't focus as much in these online matches. It's hard to, you know, constantly turn up and go, all right, guys, it's the LAN final. You know, it's not.
Can you imagine Pasha, you know, has a baby crying in the background, a wife nagging. It ain't going to be easy.
One more year now, too. I was about to say,
happening.
It's not happening. No, but still, you know, Virtus Pro, it's always fun to see how they come into this one. Again, there's ESL New York's on the horizon. A couple of events are starting to crop up now. You know, you're starting to see the offline events starting to come back into regular rotation rather than just the online leagues.
Yep.
So you might start seeing Virtus Pro starting to, you know, work things out, starting to ramp it up a little bit and just get that focus back in. And at the end of the day, this is going to be a fun game, all in all, at least in my eyes, because in theory, if this was at LAN, you'd put this one in the pocket of Virtus Pro almost every time.
Yeah,
you know, you'd have to do it.
But it's Dust2 and it's online.
Correct. So everything kind of goes, well, it's up in the air now. You know, it is quite fun to watch. And SMF is going to be a nice little swing factor for me, see how he's kind of melding into the lineup. And that takes the attention off of Cajun B, who had all of the kind of eyes on him. How's he faring in this? Is he doing okay? Obviously, Dust2, another big factor for him to come and play through.
And also Magic's boy, I think, you know, he's a cool addition to this lineup. I think very great pickup for them. Very passionate kind of a guy, watching him when he was playing back in, well, then SK, now Heroic. He was always like so pumped and like so into it, and seemed like it might have even been a bit of a problem for him sometimes because he would get a little bit too into it, and then if things went south, he would kind of get edgy.
See, that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize that there is that kind of double-sided, I guess, sword in a way. You know, it's the double edge of it. The fact that being a super passionate player means that, sure, you get pumped up when it's going really well. You're the guy who can make those game-play, you know, changing plays, but then when it goes badly, you have to keep your cool. You've got to keep your head. It is quite difficult to do that. But he's in a, you know, in a relatively experienced lineup. People like Cajun B certainly being there, Rugger as well. you know, all of these players can keep him focused, hopefully. That's something you have to do with these young players, I guess, is keep them locked down. But enough of us. Again, apologies that you have to stare at us for so long. We'll be getting the game started very, very soon.
But we were pretty. It's all good.
1 out of 2, not 2. You know, you're a beautiful man. Beautiful man. That's all it is. But yeah, we'll be getting this one started any time now. It's had to change the server, and we'll be kicking things off. But yeah, what's your prediction on this? I'm going to push you to it, because, you know, Mitch made those two on the desk have to predict. I might as well throw you under the bus.
It's very hard. It's close to impossible for me, to be honest. There's Dust2, it's online. There's a standing for Dignitas, so I'm going to say Dignitas.
So the odds are against them. Dignitas. They'll be fine. Yeah, no, it'll be. I said, you know, there's so many kind of swing factors. There's so many small pieces that can change the whole thing.
The cool thing about Virtus Pro to me is that, you know, without changing a lineup, we've seen so many different formations of this lineup with the same 5 guys in the past 5 years. It is actually phenomenal.
Yeah, different AWPers, different in-game leaders, different styles, different approaches, different map strengths. They've gone through the whole kind of thing here.
I mean, well, when you play together for as long as they have,
I guess you have to, right?
You kind of have to. Well, we are live here now, and VP is going to be starting off on T side. And let's look at what they've bought here. Neo has smoke dual flashes, and Pasha also a Molotov of smoke. That gives them some options here. It could be an ace trap, could be a B split. Could be just trade off B as well, since they have 4 sent now into tunnels.
Well, if they go for it, they could
hold off with those grenades quite well.
Yeah, this could be interesting. SMF isn't far off. He's playing ramp, but it does look like it's going to be that all in B play. The smoke is there. Not much of a connection for MSL just yet, and now he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Flash comes in. Good work from SMF. Nice play so far from him. And Virtus Pro not hitting the side just yet. Playing up just the edge of those tunnels. It has allowed them entrance now. Bialy's got the bomb. He's going to be planting it. But the first trade comes in towards those tunnels from Config. Now, back down to the 3v2. Virtus Pro dwindling in numbers here. They don't have any of that real utility. They have 1 flash on Neo.
They kind of need to make a play, and that's exactly what's happening to Bialy. Checking middle, but he doesn't see anyone. He's going to throw that decoy toward the tunnel where 2 sieges are coming in. Now, Neo's going to be the one on hot seat. Decides to go back to the car, though. Gets a kill. SMF also goes down to this old out of Magic Boy now. In a little trouble, and a nice trade there for VP to pick that one up. Felt to me a little bit, though, that VP took a little bit too much time coming out of the tunnel.
Kind of just got stuck there, didn't they? On the box, just kind of...
Didn't seem like they should have had much of a chance, actually, but eventually they just got the kills needed, got the side under control, and managed to fend off the retake from Dignitas.
And statistically, Dignitas have actually very strong pistol rounds in this map, which does obviously really do support you going towards those later rounds. You do get that nice buffer to build as well. However, the buyback coming out from Dignitas, decent enough, you know, good armor coming through. SMF going to opt to just stick down towards just the 5-7, no armor, more
Another classic anti-eco flash against the force buy, taking over long. But occasion with that scout, making a ton of damage already. Neo and Bialy down 30 HP. Trying to get another shot in, and VP taking their sweet time, throwing some nades, and there goes Bialy.
Yeah, and another Danish team certainly felt the brunt of what can be done with CZs on Dust2 just yesterday. And this could be fun. Match is going to take a bit of a gamble, bit of a throw in on that one, see what he can achieve. And it's Config with the deagle, and that's 3 back-to-back. How has he found those? No one pressuring them all together, just one by one playing off the back of it, and MSL is there. And you highlighted SMF as one of the guys with the deagle that can work. Config is another name who has so much potential on that gun to just do damage, and already set up so well off the back of KGB, doing so much work early on.
Don't really agree with the fact that Virtus was just kind of facing the scout on A. You kind of just wait behind the edge, throw the smokes, flashes, the Molotov the site, and just get on there. Instead, they just took damage, basically, before committing to the bomb site and got dismantled by Dignitas, so they will come in with a force buy and win it.
Well, that's kept this one at least interesting for now. Again, coming back into the Dignitas, not with a perfect buy at all, far from it, but Config spots out the plan early on, gets absolutely overrun. Snacks, barrels in there, doesn't get the gun out of it just yet. And now KGB's eyes are certainly trained towards middle, a little bit careful, a little bit cautious, but Pasha's got a bit of a chance on this one now, but can't quite spot him out. Neo's found MSL. This is back and forward. These are these rounds that you just can't really write at this sort of point, but KGB there keeps what?
Get wrecked, SMF.
SMF, you've got to feel for him. I guess peeking into tunnels is always dangerous, but you don't expect the scout to be the one to greet you on the other side, and a little bit of... Wow, yeah, that was a little bit special. Okay, 3v2, KGB and Matchday on the retake. They've got 3 flashes. They can certainly do it. They have the M4s, but do they want to? That's the next big thing. No kit to be seen. cajunb's now very low. Magic's brought it down to 2v2, but Snax just gonna be peeking out, trying to find if he can get a bit more damage done. Keep him wondering, keep him guessing. And it's only Magic's going for this. cajunb's already saving. He's gone. So now Magic's...
Why is he even there anymore? Just
I don't
go,
know.
just evade now. Off you go. Off you go. Taz is there, but he goes down though. And now only Snack's alive, but this round is all over by now. Magic's boy wants to get that kill, but instead it's going to get destroyed by Snack's AK-47. Bomb goes off, and Snack's is going to actually die off of it. And now Cajun be the only one to survive that. So back-to-back force buy wins from both sides. CS
sure
go for you.
Magic was doing that, to be fair. You know, Virtus.pro can still get a decent enough buy anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. Should have just fallen back, but...
Yeah, and digging a buy back into this. They've been getting fairly close rounds, I guess, but how much can you get away with? You know, when do you call it enough?
Exactly, that's the point, right? Well, they feel like they have an opportunity here to take one right back. But if they do lose this one, then obviously it's time to save. But they have that 1 in 4. They have a FAMAS and then just upgraded pistols. And by the looks of it, quite a standard hold. No stacks anywhere, really. 2 in B, 1 CT spawn, and 1 A ramp, 1 long. Pretty much the most default kind of a safety setup you can have.
Yeah, and cajunb's the one with the rifle, the main rifle. I say Magic, of course, does have one as well, but cajunb's the playmaker here. He's the one who can make the big difference happen for Dignitas. Now, playing on towards A side, nothing uncommon for him. Fairly run-of-the-mill, whether it be with an AWP more than likely later into this one if he gets his hands on it, but a little bit of utility as well, just going to keep Virtus.pro at bay. They do have that mid control. They've got themselves towards Cat. Config's playing a little bit more passive towards CT. Again, though,
Yeah, they're already mid gun, and Virtus.pro doesn't really know anything else but that the catwalk is clear. That's all they know right now, and that's exactly where they're going to be banking on. Just a push from Cat, smoking off that ledge, making sure it's as uncomfortable as possible for the CT, but instead, it's going to be a fake. They're going for a B split.
and it's pretty darn fast as well. Config's completely left with his pants down towards CT. He can't do anything about it. It's down to SNF and MSL. Now, they're not in much of a position to make anything happen. Overwhelmed, overrun. And the bomb's going down. 5 alive now for Virtus.pro against the 2 remaining for Dignitas. And I can imagine this will probably be another save situation for them.
Yeah, well, that worked out pretty well in the end for Virtus.pro. So that was a fake for catwalk. They threw the ledge smoke there to make, so the CTs don't see what's going on there. Molotov in the site, and then going for a B split. They get the entry kills, and they keep it super clean. That's very important for them to build a bit of a buffer here for their economy. Magic's boy and KGB just trying to save these rifles. And it's definitely going to be a save here for Dignitas in the following round, unless they're crazy.
They shouldn't do. There's no reason, especially when Virtus.pro just had the cleanest round as you like. They've got the bomb plant. They know they've got money now. There's no real reason to do it. Again, cajunb and Magic do get to keep their rifles, so they can still make a play out of this. You can still do some damage. You can still make something happen. Although, config on 1.92k, yeah, Dignitas' money is absolutely trashed at this point. I think they'll probably just be clean as you like in this. Just USPS, nothing more. Leave everything else down to the likes of Magic and cajunb. If they can make something happen, it'll be from those two. And I want to see if maybe they go for a bit of a quirky play off the back of it. Maybe try and put those rifles into play early. cajunb's pulling up towards short, so this could be a bit of a difference. He's going to take an active angle, look for the fight here. Neo's going to be possibly the first on the chopping, but he gives away the position. Has to back out of it. Didn't land the shot. And now the rest of Virtus.pro can start building throughout this map. They can take that mid-control, build into it again. They have all that utility to build around. No rush for them either.
Yeah, they were trying to make it seem like there was going to be a lot of pressure on long. Snacks through pretty much all these nades towards there, and the rest of Virtus.pro and just going towards middle. And they might have wanted to go just through mid doors to see what's going on in the middle. Instead, they're going to slow things down. Magic's boy, though, he's playing with the idea of pushing long and pays the price for it.
Yeah, you saw that there's a good few players already keeping tabs on that as a possibility. And once Virtus.pro get that mid-control, you can see that Neo's holding long, you've got Bialy holding the B tunnels, and just making sure they don't get pushed. If Dignitas wanted that CT information for, to allow maybe cajunb to make the play or Magic to catch them off guard, they are there to deny any part of that. So again, one smoke left onto Virtus.pro, not too much to play off, but beyond that, they still got those mollies to clear these corners. But this is a nice spot for cajunb if it doesn't get checked instantly. If they go A, there's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes on that. And if they choose to go elsewhere, there's just USPs and no armor.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they're going to be splitting this A through CT spawn and Cat. Bialy gets one kill on the MSL. SMF still in B. cajunb now with the M4 gets one. Can't make it 2 and almost 3. Pasha. Oh, actually, doesn't take any damage. I thought he did, but it was Bialy. He was down to 27 HP. Now the bomb does go down, and Config's already up on Catwalk, but it doesn't seem very likely that Dignitas is going to get much out of this, except for some kills.
That car position. Config's playing on the edge of the smoke. He might be able to catch up Pasha. It depends. Timing's everything. They've not seen each other. Config doesn't have a kit, though, so he shouldn't be able to do much. And it just who sees who first. Pasha gets in the end with the P90, upgrades himself if he wanted to. I don't think he does. If he could... Ooh, he almost got that.
P90, come on, that's like the best weapon in the game.
That's very true. How dare I doubt it? How dare I? I remember speaking to Get Right. I think it was like the Dubai event. He was like, you know what, I'm going to make this a viable gun. I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you goddamn dare. It's not, it's not okay.
Finally, we see a full buy from Dignitas. KGB with that op. No kits for Dignitas and no armor at KGB. It's going to be a glass cannon.
Yeah, and MSL not off to a good start. Getting tagged up already, unfortunate, a bit of a shame, but for him, when you're playing B, you kind of have to accept these things can happen, but as you said, AWP's on both sides, so this becomes a little bit of a different beast here. KGB becomes a bigger factor with that in his hand, so you've got to keep that in mind. Virtus Pro have to play around it, work around it, whether it be from sight, on car, infamously falls back to long. He has some real viable access with this. But Pasha still stick on the P90. He was able to drop that AWP towards Snack, so building the bank for Virtus Pro here.
Yeah, they're going to have to, Virtus Pro are going to have to try to make it as uncomfortable as possible for Cajun, who is now actually being the aggressor right here. And he's going to miss that shot on Pasha with the P90, working things out. Playing against a player without an armor, P90 is a shredder.
Absolutely. Now, the lucky fact being, at least for now, is the fact that Config can pick up the AWP. He ran in for it, goes back, he finds Pasha, can't find any more Snacks, just rains dominance in already from Cat, and now you're going to see that 8-8 coming in. But Bialy watching the cross, catches one, spots out the other. And Marcel still breaks through, but he's still tagged up from that earlier beginning here. And that AWP shot that came rattling through those doors. Now, it's a 3v2. The bomb's going to be planted. And already Snacks again finds another. And leaves it down to MSL. 2 kills this round. Probably not going to find much more. Taz there waits patiently on top. Should be able to recover the AWP if he can find it. There's several, and he picks up neither. Nice, Taz.
You're standing on top of one.
I want the dragon lore. No, you get neither now.
Well, like
5-1.
Cajun's peek towards Cat was really costly. He missing that shot and then going down by the P90 of Pasha. Basically, that opened the floodgates. Config got 1 kill, but then it was traded away by Snacks, I believe it was, and that was pretty much the A side open and the round over. So,
Config,
tiniest things make a difference.
Thank you, Cajun B, for finally stopping the P90. It'll probably come back out, but for now, I take some small satisfaction in that. So it is down to the 3 remaining players with Dig. Upgraded pistols as most they can have, and Config desperate to get that kill. He couldn't quite finish it off. One more shot would have done it. Not going to get the chance, though. And Virtus Pro keeping this one clean so far. Not really been tested as of yet. But Dignitas, their money's always felt a little shoddy. As a glass cannon here, limited utility there. This is the first time we get to see on the full buy. So they actually might be able to put up a bit of a fight against it.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Virtus Pro hasn't really had to do any elaborate strategies. All they really had to do was get some picks and go for it. And that's going to lead them into a 6-1 scoreline. Now Snacks with the great spawn is going to pick long. He's going to get that kill on the Magic boy as well. With 74 HP, he's contemplating with the idea of taking a second peek here, but Config already on his right side. Could be surprising Snacks. Well, he is, actually, and he's going to get that kill, yeah. That was perfect.
Yeah, beautifully done between Cajun B and Config there, just using the time of the smoke to try and just play in towards it, play off the back of it, and he pulls it back. So now 4v4.
And now Virtus Pro does get the idea that there's going to be 2 CTs on that long area, so they decided to split B right away. But instead, it's going to be a fake 2 playing middle, 2 waiting on Cat for something to happen here.
Cajun's backed away, though. Keep your eyes on Cajun B. He was the one who kind of sensed that there was still something there. You saw the flash coming out, and now Virtus Pro are backing towards B, but the smoke's dissipated towards CT. They have another to put into place if they need to, and Cajun can adjust his aim if he wants to, but now it's down to SMF. It's him and MSL again on the receiving end here. Cajun B's completely smoked out. He can just about see the cross up towards the door, but that is it. Nothing else beyond that. Where's this push going to come from? 50 seconds left. They're on towards the ramp. SMF waiting for that window push to come out. MSL found Neo, so this is actually pretty good so far. SMF whiffs completely, leaves it in the hands of MSL, who actually delivers on this front. But now Pasha in the 1v2. He's got to know where Cajun B is, and he knows where MSL is. It doesn't matter. Cajun B finds him, and that's Dignitas getting their first one on the board. And, Well, it was MSL keeping it together, really.
Yeah, that was a weird one, though, because it seemed to me like they were... Virtus Pro was trying to fake that B split and still have that bomb catwalk, and hoping that the two that were splitting B would get an entry, and that would cause a rotation from the CTs, and then they would just run out of catwalk, get a kill on the guy who was rotating, and then get the bomb down A. But instead, they decided to fall back from cat, go for that B split, and the two CTs in B managed to just delay them long enough.
God, these flashes coming in thick and fast here, but how did Taz not see Cage in there? I'm not too sure if he just maybe tried to focus on a Magic or Config maybe instead. The boost's not going to work out just yet. KGB now playing a little bit of a awkward predicament here. He's going to have to try and get up back onto the side. Hope that no one's pushed up on Mung. They're in a really awkward spot here now.
Yeah, definitely. It's never good when you're getting sandwiched like that onto that A site. Snax gets the kill on the KGB as well. Now Neo should have a pretty good chance on getting a kill on a Magic Spot, but decides to go away as he gets dinked. 150 HP, and now the kills are coming from VP. Only MSL left now from Catwalk, and he's down also. And that's going to be a quick return by Virtus Pro.
Yeah, VP there showing a real punch to play on long. Even though they didn't have the cleanest of beginnings, you know, it wasn't the most perfect of starts, they pulled themselves back into it. They made Dignitas super uncomfortable, and look what they've done to their economy as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's just shattered right now. That's the thing. At least you win one, and then you lose the one after. It just destroys your economy altogether. And you see they're probably going to be on a 2-save strategy here. VP with the good spawns are going to take over long right away. Pasha with the opening kill. There's Cajun as well. He's retreated back to the car position. Blinded.
This is good from Virtus Pro as well. You want to keep these rounds as clean as you can. We saw so many in the previous games that we've casted in the last couple of days being, you know, back and forth in these rounds, losing so many players, you know, this sort of thing. No, this is nice from Virtus Pro, taking it how, you know, you'd want it to be seen. You know, playing off long, playing off that nice spawn, getting those openings, and then just keeping it safe as well.
It's very tough on City side when you don't really get to dictate the pace. Because sometimes you do. I mean, you make the exactly right choice of either playing aggressive on cats or aggressive on long, and you get the first picks, and then you make it really uncomfortable to tease. But now it's the opposite, basically. Virtus Pro are the one that get to really dictate the pace.
So where has the CT aggression been? Have we actually seen it at all from Dignitas, or have they not had the chance yet?
No, yeah, mostly it's just been long. They've been playing really, really default. They need to be more aggressive on cat, I think. I feel like because the mid control is VP exactly what they want to do. So just flash late in middle, take a peek from mid, peek from catwalk, and try to force a play on him.
And we haven't really seen Cajun B taking that up to mid. We haven't seen anyone actively holding it. You saw Config playing CT. They've been playing 2 in the B side, so they're pretty much giving up mid. So you'd hope that they'd have a plan to be able to get back into it or a way to play around it. So far, they've been completely pushed off it. So as I said, maybe a little bit more aggression here or there. Maybe trying to see something happen would be really, really good for Dignitas. But at the moment, you have nothing to work with.
Yeah, the most we've seen of aggression right now is KGB trying to push cat from on the ledge, and then just miss a shot, die. That's the most we've seen so far. So the better part of it, it's been 2 in B, 1 CT spawn, 2 playing A, and just waiting for Virtus Pro to come in, and they've done a better job. They've been able to trade effectively and make it uncomfortable for the CTs. And it's going to be uncomfortable for Magic's boy as well as he gets killed by Pasha. And it's going to be 9-2, and finally Dignitas with enough money to buy. Still though, if they wanted to get an op, he's not going to have an armor.
No,
so M4s.
To be seen. Yep, exactly. M4s all around, and I'm hoping we still see some form of aggression, whether it be that kind of, I don't know, pushing in towards tunnels from the B side, something across the map. There is possibilities.
Boost up on cats.
Yep.
And then, especially if the T's like to smoke off Xbox on top of the Xbox, it's really good to just flash from cat and mid and just take a peek to the middle, basically. Just try to force a kill.
This is the first time we're seeing Dignitas actually being a little more active in holding mid. SMF has pulled himself down towards the ramp, but just gets absolutely outdone by Pasha. Just peeks into it. The shoulder peek works out perfectly. And now you've got MSL isolated all alone, has no support coming in for him. Config's desperate to try and help, but he can't do it. He's smoked out and pressured. Nothing to be found here. Tries to peek into it. There's Taz, there's Neo. And this is already looking terrible for Dignitas. Again, MSL looking to try and make the play. Try and find a way back into this round, and it's not going to happen. It's too late in the day. And Magic's pushes out long, but his position is already noted. That bomb's about to go down. And this looks like another one on the board for Virtus Pro.
Yeah, that was a classic fast base play from Virtus Pro. Going through the middle, get the entry towards B ramp, and then the other one also on A Neo, just leaping from catwalk. Yeah. And just, the first flurry of kills going away of Virtus Pro. Round pretty much over. Magic's boy is just waiting and trying to save this weapon. Let's see how that's going to work out for him. He could technically save it if he manages to evade Neo here, who's on a manhunt. He's going to find Magic's boy, but Magic's boy gets the kill. And now he should be able to evade. But even though Dignitas had the right positioning there, they just got destroyed in the duels. I mean, they were 2 fair duels they lost in middle.
And that's sometimes what it comes down to. You know, a lot of people look at, you know, why don't they do this, why don't they do that? Well, they tried to change it, they just didn't land the shot. It literally is as simple as that. Sometimes you get outplayed, and so far, Pash has been, you know, pretty crisp on hitting those. He was one who provided the first there. And again, it's tough to see because they had the right thing in mind, maybe not the aggression we wanted, but, you know, try and be in the right place, stop that play, and now Virtus.pro's money is so robust, they have the double AWP.
It's all about the right positioning on this side. It's the aggression and it's the right positioning. If you know, if the teams are going for the mid take, you know, you want to have those 2 guys on both sides in middle. If they're going for the long take, you want to have 3 on long. If they're going for cap, then you want to have some cap push coming here, as we have right now, KGB. And one of his teammates, the config, are here waiting for a potential push, but as we can see in the minimap, most of Virtus.pro right now just plow into B.
And look at the response as well. Neo positioned himself to catch the rotate and deny those players coming back through, but it's Taz and Bialy just cracking over the site themselves. KGB does find Neo, but it's bought the time, it's bought the presence, and the positioning works perfectly for Virtus.pro. Again, so quick to adapt on the fly. As soon as they found out that cat aggression was coming into play, all right, let's play around now. Let's speed up towards B. Let's stop them being able to get through on the rotate. And again, dominance shown here from Virtus.pro.
This is a slaughter right now.
It really is. I thought we started like, oh yeah, we're close, and you support Dignitas.
Yeah, you know. It's a coin toss.
It's always a 50-50.
It is an absolute coin toss.
You don't always see this Virtus.pro, let's be honest.
Oh, definitely don't. And right now, everything is just going their way, and they're hitting their shots. That second part, especially hitting their shots, it's not always a thing online for them, but right now it seems like Virtus.pro is fired up.
Yeah, definitely. This is a lovely, lovely beginning for them. Between the two, you'd say Dust2 could be a massive swing factor for Dignitas. You've got, you know, the likes of KGB having huge performances here, but let's bear in mind SMF is having a bit of a blinder as well. He's not having a good game at all. I think he's 1-12 at the moment, yeah, so not really getting off to the start you can imagine he'd be wanting here. He's not exactly new to the scene. He's played this enough now. So just having a bit of a bad start here. Hopefully for him, he can recover into the later rounds. But
let's be honest, none of them are having a good game.
No, no one is. You know, whether it be 1 kill or 5 kills, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
You're not making the difference.
No, definitely not. Well, here we go again. 11-2 scoreline, and the first 2 kills go the way of Virtus.pro right away, and that's going to be a bomb site loss, but a bit of a stack in middle is going to create an opening for Dignitas. And that being said, Snacks though with a kill, and so does Pasha, and all's left is SMF.
Maybe he can double his kills.
RIP.
To be fair, he's already doubled his kills, so he's on 2 now.
High fives. High fives.
Yeah, you got to feel for them again a little bit here, Dignitas, because it feels like they just don't know how to get around this. You know, how do you get around the Virtus.pro? That's the problem. The thing is that when they play like this, when it is this, you know, very powerful, very in-your-face, very tactically robust beast that they can become, no one can really play against it that well. Yeah. But again, it's so far in between that we see it.
If they hit their shots and they react as well as they have here, it is very hard to stop. It's just the way it is, and they'll have what it feels like is 3 people on you all the time. As the MSL is going to lose 98 HP in the first 10 seconds of the round, and the B plow is coming in from 2 of the VP players. He only gets a kill. MSL returns the favor with that 2 HP left, and now it's going to be a 4-4 situation. MSL takes a little bit more damage, but 4T is on his way. He's going to go down. B bomb site's lost.
It's gone, it's done, it's dusted. They tried to build off the tags they got early on into the round, and it's worked out well. The site is now locked off, the smokes are down, the molly's in place. And well, oh, nice angle from KGB there. Actually sprayed out Neo, got some good damage up, but look at the utility left on Virtus.pro because it was such a fast hit. They have mollies galore, smokes, flashes, and on the other side, nothing. Yeah,
exactly. It's impossible to even imagine to get anything going on for Dignitas here. Well, they do get a couple of kills. It's a 2-on-3 situation, but still, the likelihood of them making this work not very high. That being said, Magic Spoy does get a kill before Snacks returns the favor, and now it's all out of Magic Spoy coming through tunnel. He has one straight to his right. In the perfect position, Taz gets the kill. And 13-2 half.
And Snacks then being a little bit cheeky on that one. Nice shot coming out though in the end. But nice shots don't equal rounds, particularly at this one. Not when it's so you know, sparsely connected. Massive score to be in with for Virtus.pro. This is one of the VP performances that you look at as the plow, right? I hate to say, I think it's such a, you know, overused phrase these days, but it's very true. These guys are on fire, and it looks like Dignitas don't quite have an answer yet.
No, well, Virtus.pro hitting their shots and just reacting to situations correctly. Dignitas, on the other hand, not hitting anything really, and they seem to be only partially in the right place at the right time, just not working out for them.
Well, let's see if that continues into the second half after the break. It was a landslide beginning for Virtus Pro. Already looking like they are on point today. We saw Dignitas being bent over backwards by these boys. Nothing seemed to be working for Dignitas here. And coming into the second half, now they've got to somehow recover what happened after the first.
Bent over, all right. What can I say?
Why do you have to highlight that piece? Out of everything I said, you're like, bent over.
Because they were.
Moist gaming and bent over. You bring the most premium of content. No, but yeah.
Someone has to.
Wow. Wow. That hurts my feelings. No. But yeah, this has been a little bit of a trial by fire for Dignitas. Let's be very honest here. 2 rounds on the first half.
It's been one of those days you don't see very often from Virtus Pro.
Yeah,
and
it is right.
On the contrary, Dignitas is just not even on the server, it feels like.
Now, let's bear in mind that these are 2 separate best of ones in theory. So Dust2 and then we have Mirage, which is actually a very good map technically, I guess, for Dignitas, if you look at how they approach it. And exactly the same for Virtus Pro. So now that kind of removes that pro and con from, I guess, Dignitas' favour. So they're going to have to hope for a very different approach on the second map. However, this one is yet to be completed. There is still very small room. You want to start on that pistol and build your way as far back as you can. For them, it is an incredibly tough road, especially when VP are in this form.
Yeah, the start off for Dignitas is all about racking up some rounds, building a bit of confidence to feel good going into that other game against Virtus Pro afterwards. But let's see how it works out. They have 1 set of nades here for this pistol round, and it seems like they want to go for long. They can smoke off that cross, and they come in MSL with the first pick as well.
That's going to show the bomb. MSL currently carrying that. It's going to raise the alarm bells. You can see Virtus Pro instantly rotating, but MSL is landing shots back-to-back here. Snack's going to fall to his hand, and now the 3 remainders for Virtus Pro are going to try and do what they can. Magis is going to help them out. That's very kind of them. And then just clean up with SMF at the end. So, the only kill that came in there for Virtus Pro was actually from Dignitas anyway. So, at the end
No
of the day,
scouts then. That's what it means.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true,
Because
actually.
it actually makes a difference. If the Cities get kills in the pistol round, they can buy scouts, and those, as we see,
They work.
we saw last time, yeah, from KGB, getting a lot of tags. That made a massive difference. Now Cajun actually going to opt for a scout after a pistol round day 1, and as we can see from Virtus Pro, they have some heavy long take coming in here, because a lot of teams actually go for long in the anti-ecos, because it's a very viable option.
Yeah. It's the logical choice, I guess. You've got the rifles, you've got the guns that
You get
operate
the
well at
distance
range. Yep.
advantage, so it can work your way if you buy a lot of utility. Now you can see VP being conservative about these flashes they have. They're waiting for Dignitas to just pop out of somewhere and then flying a pop flash and just trying to get a lot of kills happening here.
I quite like it. They've gone from making the read that maybe if they come long, we'll be there. That doesn't work, so they readjust instantly, reform. They find a new position to try and make this work from. And again, they're just going to be waiting. They are at the whim of Dignitas, but it's certainly, they've laid the trap. There's the tasty bit of bait there. There's the little bit of a plan in motion. So the smokes come in. Now, Dignitas aren't actually going mid. That's the one big favor here for them. They are working up cat. They're playing it, quite calm, quite collected. SMF has to be careful. He could be caught out long by Passion. Timing is a little bit of everything here, and SMF just about checks that. But here comes the play from Dignitas, bullying their way towards that A side, just barreling through. It's Cajun B and MSL to find it, but there has been a response in the meantime. Taz found 1, Bialy found SMF, so now there's guns recovered, or at least 1, should I say. That with Pasha can do wonders. Bearing in mind they have the armor, they have what they need to make it work. Bialy's going to bait himself in, allow hopefully Pasha to close it down. It's still a 3v3 here.
It seems like they're actually just going to save these guns instead.
There we go.
I mean, had they been able to get a fast kill, then it could have been technically possible, but they realize it's probably going to be a long plant, no kid in play, and there's a scout on Cajun B that they've heard already. So, 1 + 1 is 2.
Thank you. I was never sure. Now I know. And well, walking away with the rifle and the upgrade, and the armor, it's not too bad for Virtus Pro. They still have at least that in their pocket. Please don't lose this Pasha. You really don't need to. You have Bialy being pretty much your, bullet sponge if required. He really is. He just sits there like, if I die, you need to run away. Simple as that. But there we go. So they walk out of it. They're gonna have to be, pretty much foregoing this round anyway, Virtus Pro, in theory. You know, this is not one you expect them to win, but they do get a little more punch to it now. They have a little bit more to play with, and now Dignitas needs to be a little bit more careful as well.
Exactly. Now, Pasha could potentially cause some damage here. If he can get some early kills going on, that would be perfect. And by the looks of things, he might be in the perfect position for this right now. So Flash coming in along, but they all decide to actually fall back as Dignitas takes over long. Pasha, you got to turn around, dude. Gets 1 kill. Does he make it 2? He does.
Oh, the third.
And Config does go down by 50 HP as well. So that's a lot of damage dealt. 250 in total by Pasha. He's definitely done his worth.
I genuinely thought I was going to connect, and that third shot, as soon as Config stepped out, I saw it all falling apart for Dignitas. But thankfully for them, Config did get the kill eventually. But as you said, he took damage doing so. It's not the cleanest thing to be getting away with. And now they might be able to switch that rifle out here, possibly. Magic's full HP. They can shuffle things around, maybe try and play off the back of that a little more. Or just kind of bunch up at long and try and play together. Again, VP are playing this quite nicely, though. They're keeping in mind that, okay, they're probably still stuck on long. They've lost map control elsewhere. We've got Bialy up mid. They've got 3 players facing this long cross. It's going to make it tricky for Dignitas, and we know what can happen in these positions. Good connection again. Magic's going low, 9 HP, and oh my word, it's all going wrong. Taz and Snacks find 2 of them, and they hesitated for a second. They took their time, and now Virtus Pro just really pulled the noose around their neck. That was brilliant stuff from VP.
Yeah.
And Pasha, individually.
If you want to do what they did, Dignitas there, throw the deep smoke in city spawn. Throw the one that is close to city spawn. And then just take aim duels towards that A bomb site. But if you're going to do the normal cross smoke, you kind of just have to commit to the bomb site. You just go over and then take the fights. Instead, they threw the cross smoke and waited. And kind of the smoke played in Snacks' advantage. He could shoot right over it. And got dismantled. And Taz coming with the flank as well. And that's going to make matters even worse for Dignitas. Virtus Pro on their 14th. And Dignitas now, as you can see, 2 AKs, a Deagle, and 2 Tech-9s with a bunch of grenades to work with.
Yeah, far from ideal, but they can certainly do damage. But not if Snacks is doing that. They 1-for-1 trade eventually, however. Now Config takes a little bit of a wide peek there, trying to check if anyone's in CT. Take a quick fight if you can catch someone off now. Pop flash over towards the B ramp. But Digon playing off the back of this. Pasha's also on the way round long, so he might get a good idea of what's coming his way. Config is being a brilliant piece of bait, and a bit of bait with teeth as well. He finds Bialy as well. Unbelievable, but here's the response. That's what we were waiting on. Can Pasha capitalize on it? 50-50. Finds one, but can't close it down. Now Taz left on his own. Neo's all the way by CT. They've got 50 seconds here.
Yeah, well, Neo could potentially still flash over. And Taz, though, he gets a kill after SMF. MSL deals a lot of damage. It should get really hard for Taz, but Neo has now come very close to that B bomb site. And MSL is actually going to play on the edge. He's falling back. He doesn't do it, though. Neo gets the kill. And that's going to be the map point for Virtus Pro. And the money. There is none for Dignitas.
No, it's completely gone. They bought everything they could in that previous round. As you said, 2 rifles coming in, a Deagle or 2, whatever they could pull together. And no matter, Config gave them a really good beginning in that. That was certainly an opportunity, but they couldn't capitalize beyond it.
A good job from Taz there in that 2-on-1 situation. Low on HP, just staying alive behind the box.
Buying the time.
Yeah, right. The time for your teammate to come in and then make sure you get that kill.
We highlighted that yesterday on Cobble, what sort of effect that can have, just keeping yourself alive in it, allowing time for that rotate, keeping that T, constantly guessing, never able to cross anywhere, and it works out. So, match point, map point, should I say, in theory, or match point, they are 2 best of 1, so. 15-4, though,
Works
is the
both
score.
ways.
Yeah, I'll take it that I can't be wrong in theory. 4 players through mid, however, and Bialy on the other side. This time, it's going to be great.
Wow. No,
greeting Cajun B with a smile there almost, I thought, but no, he gets absolutely mowed down. Now Taz falls, and now Dignitas decide they want to get a little bit of, fire burning, just to keep Yanko and Henry on their toes. You know what I mean? They can't get comfortable yet. Config finds a Deagle, and now VP are left with 2. Bombs planted, and Neo's in a little bit of battle over by T-Spawn. The nade will do the work in the end for him, but it was from the grave, and now we're in a 1v2, and Neo, he's going to go for it, it seems. Just going to go straight on. This is good flashes, actually, back-to-back here. 1v2, MSL. Playing from the side to the right, already notices where SMF is, but baits in the other teammate. They recover the guns, and they live to fight another day.
Yeah, that was a cheeky little strat there for Dignitas. They, I think they flashed behind the smoke, so he couldn't see the guy who got wrecked in middle. Just couldn't see the flash, got totally blinded right before the guys came through that smoke. And yep, that was just a perfect usage of those Tech-9s, keeping the battle close distance.
Why is this guy with the UMP no armor?
Because why not?
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect
Exhibit
sense.
A, you get an AK-47.
Of course you do. I I'll never doubt it, you know what I mean? There's no point at this conjecture, but we are going to be seeing, hopefully, Dignitas not falling into that same sort of trap as before, feeding in towards Virtus.pro's position. Snax might as well back away from this. If he can actually stay out alive with this, it's not too bad. They don't have much money to work with, so...
Yeah, exactly. They definitely should try and save this AK-47. That's exactly what they are doing. Taz is going to also run away with Snax here. And it's only going to be, well, still 4 alive for Dignitas, and their money is not super good either. But then again, obviously they are sitting at 5-15 scoreline, so money is not their biggest issue.
No, definitely not. They can just coast through these rounds. Any damage done is good.
Like I said, at this point, it's more about just trying to get a respectable score first, and then, you know, if things go really well, then you can fight for that tie. But still 10 rounds to go, 9 after this, that they need to win in a row.
Yeah, it's a long old road if they actually want to, you know, contest the scoreline, let's say. But a competitive game would be something we're certainly going to be looking at if Dignitas can keep this sort of thing up.
Now, question is, what is Virtus.pro going to do? Because their money is still kind of low. They can't afford an op, and they are sitting at 15-6. So they can afford another save, and I would advise they do that because they have the rounds to play with. And exactly what's going to happen, too. It's just upgrading some pistols and buying some armors here to try and cause some damage.
Yeah, buying to around 3k, not really dipping below that. A couple of players maybe going just below.
Well, they can get a full buy next one, so.
Yeah, exactly.
All
so
that matters.
Perfect for them. If they can make anything else work. Did they hear that? Yeah, you definitely... No, I think just the chance that they heard it is enough for them to back away. Snax is their kind of... I guess knight in this. You want to play him aggressively. You want to make him be the difference maker here, but he does get picked up by Cajun through mid. That's the AWP that we wanted to see so much coming through on that CT side. It really didn't find much, I guess, screen time, to put it that way. Cajun B, though, looking for more here. This is not advisable. Your barrel's a bit big there, Cajun. It's not going to ever say that again in my life, but it's certainly showed through first. 4v3, though, VP looking at limited ways to be able to approach this round now. What was that moist game of the week? Don't even try and bring judgment in. Don't even dare try.
I'm speechless. Doesn't that happen too often, does it?
What, that you're speechless, or...?
Still too alive for VP. Probably trying to save these weapons here. At this point, low HP, 2 AKs to play with. But Magic Sport in a perfect position. Takes out that op. It's all up to Neo.
Yeah, he should be able to stay on. I don't think anyone's particularly close enough. By Magic's going to go all the way through T-spawn. There's a little bit of time left on the bomb, I guess. Could maybe catch him, but I doubt Neo's just going to go wandering around. So yeah, this should be fine. And how's Dignitas' money doing, actually? Let me check in. It's still not incredibly stable, to be fair. Nah. A couple of plants here and there, they're keeping players alive, but it's certainly not, you know, incredibly robust just yet.
No, in fact, well, they can drop the weapons, so it's all good. It's all good and dandy at this point. They did save that op, too, for Cajun. MSL is actually sitting at 18-16 frags, so it's not too bad considering the scoreline. He's got something out of it. But on number 8 of the second half going on here, and now finally Virtus.pro again with enough money to buy fully here, and up on Snax as well. He's trying to have a peek towards top of middle, behind that smoke as well. That's very sneaky positioning.
Yeah, this could be quite nice, actually. Going to be able to back away from it as well and readjust. He has to fall back from this, and as did Dignitas, to be fair. They didn't try and make the quick play off the back of a couple of flashes or map control gained. So
this is quite an interesting positioning for Virtus.pro. They are playing retake A 100%, playing 1 mid, 2 in B, 1 in CT ramp, 1 long, basically just banking on the fact that if Dignitas would do 8 A attacks in a row, they're banking on winning at least 1 after plant. And if they do a B split, and then they're just going to be screwed.
Oh no, if this comes in, you've got 2 players here. Bialy close, Snax playing up by the window. They're probably going to play to allow Cajun B to peek. No one even baits for him out on that. Snax just finds an easy shot, Cajun. I don't think we were going to get out of that really was ever going to come true, but now we got the quick play up towards Cat. Now, they were already postured for that retake, but let's see if Neo and Pasha between themselves can actually make anything happen. Neo's in a great spot, not challenged, not pressured, not flashed, not mollied, and now you can see the crossfire coming in. Pasha chimes in with 1. Back and forth we go, and now Neo shuts down with Pasha, and this is an absolute bloodbath on Cat, and now it's down to SMF, the man who stepped into the roster recently, and no steps beyond that will be taken. Neo's going to close it down, and that is Virtus.pro looking dominant.
like I said, perfect position there for I think they should have probably done the same for the remainder of the half. Having 8 rounds to play with, and you know, B split, you want to be there with 3 to stop it, but then A is a very retakeable site if that comes in.
Yep.
So, yeah, good position for VP, and they were just a superior team, has to be said, individually speaking, and their decision making was on point, and the way they executed once they're committed to an attack on that T side was just perfect.
Yeah, this is the scary Virtus Pro. This is the Virtus Pro that you can't just instantly think of a way to get around. This is where you start to have to approach things completely differently. This means Mirage is going to be incredibly interesting for me. I'm very excited to watch that one. But before we get to that, of course, we want to hear from the analysis desk. We want to know what their thoughts are on that. Seeing VP in this sort of form is always quite interesting. So, guys, what's your take on that match?
Thank you very much, you two. Yes, Dust2, an interesting affair here in Virtus Pro. It's not a map they generally like to go for in the past, only a couple of examples of it, but I think it's safe to say it was a pretty much open and shut book in the first half. Really is where it decided the match.
Yeah, if you're winning 13-2, for me, that's pretty much game over. Like, Dignitas did what they could to make a game of it. They won the pistol, got a few rounds in a row, some forced buys from VP there, but yeah, if you're winning 13-2 in the first half and the way they're playing as well, it seemed like Dignitas never really showed up in that first half. Just a very good, efficient game from VP. If that's the kind of team that turns up on the server, everyone's hitting their shots, are aggressive, they're confident, they've got the economy working in their favor as well, they're utilizing the spawns, that's when you're going to win Dust2 games, and you start off on a really good foot like that, and any rounds Dignitas are winning, it's getting shut down straight away. You can see the double ecos time and time again, every round. Well, that 2 rounds they got reset both times, so it looks like a very nice game from VP, good approach to it, as Natty pointed out, very good at just the mid-round decisions, whether they're taking the spawn at the start, getting long control, baiting towards shore, lots of decent fakes coming in. It's nice to see them actually just running a smart game, more traditional game of Dust2 to what we're used to seeing from top teams instead of the kind of very ropey approach we saw at the beginning of the year.
Would you agree with that, Yanko? Would you look at some of what happened with Dignitas there as well? We saw Cajun B on shore with an AWP getting killed by Pasha with a P90. We saw Virtus Pro, I think they were behind at one point, or at least trying to build their economy up. They force second round in towards pistols, doesn't work out, so then they just buy just pistols, no armor, and still managed to win the round out there. A lot of mistakes still for Dignitas.
I think they were beaten individually and as a team. You know, those situations you mentioned certainly don't help. But also VP did a great job of, you know, changing the pace, having a couple of slower executes towards the A-bomb side. They really were efficient at, you know, taking advantage of the middle area of the map. Pretty much those mid to B splits. Dignitas couldn't defend against those either. SMF had a pretty quiet game in the first half, couldn't do much, but I mean, I wouldn't put the blame on him. They were simply getting trashed pretty much as a team. Yeah,
we normally expect Dust2 is Cajun B's home ground, right? As Lauren pointed out, he's got that big barrel. It just wasn't getting going with it at all. It just wasn't working out. The mobile AWP didn't seem to actually get going. He's famous playing that big car position and just nailing everyone coming to the A side, but he very rarely had the AWP. When he did, he tried to go aggressive towards short, and we pointed out he's getting owned by the P90 and stuff like that. There's never really seemed to arrive. No one on the Dignitas team really seemed to.
I guess we finally found out what the B means in Cajun.
That's true.
Cajun barrel.
Apparently she knows. So.
I guess a message for Lauren, it's not the size of your barrel, it's how you use it, unfortunately.
See how deep we go.
Seems to work out. It works out for VP, guys. So let's close the book on that one. That was a bit of fun. But after the break, it is going to be Mirage here as well. A chance for Dignitas to fight back. A map where they maybe be slanted for a better performance. But before we do, guys, you should be reminded that if you do want to be keeping up to date with the scores happening here in the Pro League, you can download yourself a little app called The Score Esports. That's right. It's available on your iOS or Android device at your respective app stores. Grab that one. We've got match updates. We've got scheduling. We've also got articles for your viewing pleasure. Enjoy that one during the break, and when we come back, it will be Mirage between Dignitas and Virtus Pro.